Hello and welcome to Awaken Your Human Design. My name is Moni. This is Danny. And for the week of November 27th through December 3rd, the sun is in gate 9 and the earth is in gate 16.
This 9 and the 16 start the cross of planning. We were just talking about it on the last video. These are my gates and my nodes. We're running through a time where my nodes are, because the 3420 last time were my nodes. These
It's
are
all about you, Danny.
my unconscious nodes. Well, I know them all too well. The propensity to focus and concentrate and then get enthusiastic about that. And we're going to tell a whole story about enthusiasm and being psyched and concentrating feed into each other, and they feed each other, and they end up causing the cross of planning to have its builder's edge.
Well, if you'd like to book a reading with either Danny or myself, check out the QR code above, or I have the link down in the description box below, and you can use code AWAKEN for 10% off, so you can save a little bit and hang out with us and talk about your chart. We'd love to get to know you. And if you've been getting a lot out of our lessons, if you've been enjoying these transit weather reports and you'd like to show us your support and encourage us, check out the QR code above to get to our donation link that's also down in the description box below. And we thank you very kindly. And with that, thank you for liking and subscribing, commenting, hanging out with us, asking us questions, doing all the fun stuff, and let's get into it. Here we can see on our mandala view, we have the sun in gate 9, which is detail, and that's a sacral center gate down here. And then on the flip side, we have the earth in gate 16, which is enthusiasm, and that is a throat center gate up top.
So again, as we get into these, you'll see quickly 9, this incredible capacity driving in from the sun to tame the small. And as we read the slide on the next screen, you're going to see what that's all about, meets with the capacity to manifest in a way that demands sharing, that the enthusiasm comes with it's going to share. And this is its strategy in the throat to say, I experiment or not, to have a type of excitement towards whatever your preponderance is literally focused on, and what you're taming down there in the details of the sacral. That power in the sacral is incredible, and when we read it on the next slide, you'll see what I mean.
Here we have the sun in gate 9, the taming power of the small in the gate of focus. Potential can be fulfilled through detailed attention to all pertinent aspects. Gate 9 is a sacral center gate, part of collective circuitry, so sharing is our keynote, and it's part of the understanding circuit specifically. Gate 9 links up with gate 52, which is stillness, and the 52-9 make up the channel of concentration. Gate 9 acts like a funnel, focusing 52's enormous power to concentrate on what is meaningful and worthwhile for you. Diligence for detail, or an ability to focus energy, with the sacral capacity to persevere. Gate 9 can focus attention for long periods of time on all detailed aspects of a project or issue and properly test or assess the formulas.
Oh boy, can it. So apply everything there to studying for an exam that you're totally into, because you're into the course. Let's say you deal with the subject lit you up and the final's coming. No one can study like this gate 9. This gate 9 will tame every aspect and create such an incredible sacral responsive memory is the thing. Once it's tamed these things, the responder has something it remembers. We remember our responses, by the way, we generators, not all of them, they're like blades of grass. Can't remember them all, but in a short period, when you're studying for something, this gate comes in and becomes the prime eye in the sky that gets the A plus and the extra credit, and goes to the teacher and says, I told you so, and gets another point for being so good. This is what gate 9 can do. And it does that with everything. And because it's in the sacral, it's humanity's one of the greatest gates that could have ever been there for the cross of planning. Is not any other sacral gate other than this one. I mean, even expansiveness in 42 could have been really cool. Ordering, well, no, that's not so good, because that's on its own timing, and the tribe likes to, take control of a little timing, right? No, perseverance in 29 could have been a gate. 14 even could have been. This one says, no, we've got the energy we need to persevere. We've got a will. And gate 9 gives us the juice. Someone's got to tame all of this crazy nonsense. How do I make a viaduct and an aquifer go from a mountainside, 32 miles away and come through the center of Rome? That's a thing. That's heavy, detailed work. And we took off with this like there's no tomorrow. Boy, did we make this happen like in spades, as this cross of planning has been over us. while this gate is in the sky, we can anticipate lots of focus on the focusing power that this comes with this. When you add the 52 to it, you don't think of the root center as something that makes you sit still. We think of it as something that makes us hurry. You know, the not self theme of the open root center is, are you in a hurry to be free of the pressure? Is the question for the open, root center. But this particular gate might be in a hurry, but it does feel really comfortable doing what a jackrabbit does when it's not sure. The first thing it'll do is freeze, just freeze. And this is that freezing power. And in fact, I think the juxtaposition of this when we get into it as something, actually, this won't be in it, so never mind. But juxtaposition of 52 is something about freezing, just total stillness, too much of it almost. As it does so, and it stills the body, the sacral energy now need not move like most instances of sacral energy that just needs to move. This hunk of sacral energy can stop and sit still and do something wicked sacrally, tame, tame these giant pile of details, or the one detail that needs to be tamed into the giant pile of stuff that's already been tamed. It goes both ways. It can be for one, it can be for many, any combination, and it stays with it until all pertinent aspects. That's the thing about this, attention to all of them. And so if you're sacral and you're psyched and there's, 102 extra aspects and sacral has lit you up, you're going to get through them and everyone else is going to, I can't just, I quit, that type of thing. This says, oh yeah, 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 no, I just need to sleep for a bit and a little more coffee. I'll be good. Let's keep going. It can't help it, so this taming power of the small is exactly as I'm describing it. It's sacral in nature. It sustains. It moves to gate 5 as it moves through this process of creating definition. And gate 5 takes what was focused on and puts it into a pattern, which means we're moving into the cross of consciousness after this. And the cross of consciousness, just like the quantum field, is a series of patterns. And this one just ends up leading into the other. So diligence for detail and ability to focus energy with sacral capacity to persevere. That's the iconic statement in this glyph here. So just take that with you, and that's what is going to be here for this week. Diligence. If you get stuck doing something diligently and you didn't want to, tough, enjoy it because it's sacral energy.
Next up, we have the Earth in Gate 16, which is enthusiasm and the Gate of Skills, the great art of enriching life by the harmonic channeling of energy. Gate 16 is a throat center gate, part of collective circuitry, so sharing is our keynote, and it's part of the understanding circuit specifically. Gate 16 hooks up with Gate 48, which is depth, and the 4816 make up the channel of the wavelength. It's about identifying with a skill, dedicating yourself to the repetition of the pattern, focusing on practicing until reaching a point of mastery that transcends the skill itself, becoming art. Looking for the perfect way to express expertise, living one's life becomes its own masterpiece.
It seems to be these middle sentences that work so good. Reaching a point of mastery that transcends the skill itself, becoming art. Sort of the money phrase here. 16's capacity to do this with a great deal of enthusiasm does so in both a manifesting capacity, bracketed in its stream. Its stream, if you take the stream all the way up, would start at 58, right? And it would go all the way up through 16, and it would pick up at 62 to 17, all the way up to 63. I mean, it's part of the logical understanding circuit, not including the format and the tantric channels, the power column. It's bracketed by the ponderance of the small and keeping track of actual details one by one, not just the taming of them. And it's bracketed by the taming of the details, and it's bracketed by gate 48's capacity to get a solution. The reason I'm bringing all that up is because gate 16 has some incredible lines. It's got lines that sound a little bit like gate 4's youthful folly. It's there to literally detach a little bit from reality because that's where the enthusiasm is. In strict reality, there's not a lot of room for enthusiasm. Enthusiasm gets excited about what? The future. This is a design to want to capture an energy, a sacral energy, that moves into the future. And guess who really likes that? Planning does. Guess who appreciates that? 3740. The community, the heart of the community itself, 3740, says, okay, we like that. That's okay. It can exaggerate a little, 16. Not like the exaggeration of 26 per se, because it's just almost like a youthful folly. There's a certain innocence in this enthusiasm. It just wants to share. And in its sharing, it will do almost anything to share what is it it's been taming. So it doesn't want to share really anything but what it's been taming. It guarantees that it's working on its own stuff and individuating, as the great power of the sacral has instructed us last week. And this is just carrying on that beautiful tradition through the sacral of being able to sustain at this and empower then the gate 16 that says, I'm not only enthusiastic, but in the beginning of my enthusiasm, I'm a little bit delusional. Like, it's like, hey, the enthusiasm isn't necessarily fully all fleshed out. Like, what are y'all enthusiastic about? Well, we need that, because that enthusiasm is basically enthusiasm on faith. That's what the delusion is. It's enthusiasm on faith that I'll be able to do what the meaning here is, this great art of enriching life by the harmonic channeling of my enthusiastic manifesting energy. That harmonic channeling is in getting the other to be enthusiastic with you, to share. I'm not sharing just the idea, I'm sharing the enthusiasm. So please, humanity, let's have a lot of fun sharing our enthusiasm, because when you get with the right people, that enthusiasm then generates into something. It's guaranteed to generate into something. It's got a lot of motors going on here. Just like before, we still got the same three motors. This part of the wheel is very self-concerned with making sure those three motors are like, like a good steamboat or giant tugboat, are just going at all cylinders firing. And that's what they have here. 16's enthusiasm that starts with delusion turns into bubble bursting. And at the very end, it's even gullibility. But it's all needed. It's all needed to keep the enthusiasm slightly above the pale, because the pail will suck the enthusiasm back in. Remember, there is no motor here, literally, in any of the channels. We're pretty far away from a motor at this moment. We're a whole channel removed. It's got to get by on its words alone, and its enthusiasm to experiment, and its excitement to focus in on these details, and then to express that I'm identified with it. I mean, that's much of its expression. Dude, I'm so identified with this thing. It's what's got me so enthusiastic about it. And that's how it gets brought into the world. These people can be their own type of contagious. They can also be obnoxious and annoying. I'm a 16 line too. I had to learn to stop saying, yeah, but behind everything a friend of mine says, or a partner, or even my own mother. I don't need to burst the bubble all the time. In fact, much of it is unproductive. So I have to like literally catch myself, because I'm a manifesting generator. It might just come out before I even get a chance to, catch myself. This is a time to not get thrown too far away either. Let me read some of these lines. Delusion, false enthusiasm appearing real, essentially, until you figure out what is real, by the way. This, again, on the surface. The cynic, the sharpness to burst bubbles, the independence one. This is the self-generating and sustaining enthusiasm. This one is a little bit contagious. It's a third line bumping into everything. They've got all of it. We've got the one that holds it back. We've got the leader. Then we've got the gullibility, the susceptibility to the propaganda of others. In its innocence, as a sixth line, personal, innocent, right, as motivations, they're just a little bit gullible. But that's okay, because that enthusiasm, when the rest of the gates around it see what's going on and says, hey, that's a little off track, we'll take that gullibility and put it in its right sense. We just got off of a gate that said the power for the common is best released for the common good. And now we're at the taming power, which is going to fit the same service. And by the way, it's really close to the cross of service anyways. 9, when you get to gate 52, that starts the cross of service. So lots of collective sharing, but yet tribal supportive and building and planning is here in this gate 16.
Next up, we have our Incarnation Crosses for the week. First up, we have the right angle cross of planning, which adds the 40 and 37 to the 9 and 16 we've been discussing. People whose enthusiasm is tempered by sensibly focusing on the pertinent details. Great things, plans, bargains, talent grow naturally when all aspects have been carefully considered and adequately supported. Then we'll move into the juxtaposition cross of focus, which adds the 64 and 63. People who enthusiastically inspire others to bring into focus what is important for the collective, to identify and concentrate on the potential future of society. Finally, we'll move into the left angle cross of identification, which also adds the 64 and 63. People who identify where to concentrate their skills, on which doubt or impasse, and find mental ability in knowing there are resources in place to assuage or address them.
This is really well put. So the identification is about to lead into consciousness. And so that's an interesting place for this left angle cross, which is here to transpersonalize, essentially, to know more about the other and to basically help move the karma through this planet. That's what the left angle is doing. But starting at this movement into where we see the 40 and the 37 pick up in this cross of planning. Remember, we just left the Phoenix and now we're in the cross of planning. And these people, the very enthusiasm that has to be tempered, the sensibility of the tempering is literally from the 3740. The 40 that knows it's got to do the work, and the 37 that knows what resources are needed to feed everyone. And, and that drives a bargain to make sure all that stuff stays with its continuity. That's what's going on here. And so the enthusiasm can't just run away in 16. Focus can't stay so narrow that it's of no good. And so as it moves through this movement and leaves the planning, the focus then is able to basically parse out what focuses are there to be had. Very fixed in their nature, by the way. These people, as a 4-1 incarnation with a 4-1 profile, are going to be very fixed in what they focused on. You have this as a child, you make sure you witness how that child focuses so you can have an environment that nurtures their focus, because the first 7 years of their life is where their best neural expansion takes place to make them, really good or stunted, frankly, if you don't. When you get to the cross of identification, now we're clearly getting close to what's going to move into the right angle cross of consciousness, and the fixed patterns will show up, and as will the progress and the need to want to complete things and have an experience. Basically, the temptation to be tempted by your expectations is in gate 35, or to see past them. That's what's coming up. On our way there, we're still focused on identifying, and this people who identify where to concentrate their skills is literally funneled and fueled now, where before you had to focus and the doubts help the focus. Now the doubts help get more sophisticated where you're going to concentrate their skills and for what larger purposes. Now, part of the movement through the crosses here, where do we end up? Something that is completely collective. This is only sharing. The tribe is gone here. The tribe left in the juxtaposition, but by now it's fully just out. And the 64 and the 63 are both also a collective abstract and a collective understanding. It's as if they go back and forth. So the abstract of the confusion remembers the past and pressures inspiration to come through that will go over and juxtapose things together from the past. And doubt is a mental pressure that guarantees we start asking questions, ask the questions, what might this be? What might that be? That's how we identify things. I've asked enough questions. I thought about it long and hard enough. The thing that I'm now going to focus and concentrate on, I'll display to you in how I enthusiastically identify with this. And by the way, identification is the keynote for this whole stream of awareness from 58 up to 16, the stream of taste that must be identified with the taste of the thing that splenically is healthy for them. That's not taste of food, by the way, although it absolutely can be. It's your taste on everything. I like how this plays out. I like how this enthusiasm is organizing itself while it tames all of these details. I don't like it that way. It's your personal feeling about the whole thing, but we call it taste because it's your unique taste. It becomes judgmental, but it's judgmental about what will it identify with, and it's supposed to be. So this identification has aspects of that. These people will be identified with one thing, and it may be hard to disidentify them and have them identify with something else. The only thing that's important here is that the coming cross of consciousness lets them at least understand I must stay true to what's true. Truth is supreme in life and law and equity and commerce. That's funny. Truth is supreme is the point. And so with truth being supreme, this particular left angle cross has to take that under advisement very deeply, because enthusiasm, when you get to delusion, can run away with itself. Or when you get to the fifth line, for 16, which is the Grinch, and then for 9, actually, the fifth line of that, I don't have it open right now, but it ultimately will help universalize what is the thing you're focusing on. But when you get to the 16 part of it, there's all these funny business as it relates to how is it we stay enthusiastic. Again, just think about enthusiasm and skills and talent. Because you're enthusiastic, you get talented. That's a normal course of things. I'm on the 16, not the 9, even though it's the 9 that's in the sun. But other things about enthusiasm guarantees that whatever it is you're enthusiastic about isn't all fully true yet. Some of it isn't true yet. That's the delusion. But we have to have that or we'll never move forward. It's basically looking forward, saying, no, we can get that done. No, we can get that done. I think I can experiment with that and have it work out. I think I can give that a try, that type of thing. So identification is that which is worth identifying with, because Sacral responded yes. And this is a great place where if the world were to wake up here, they would suddenly realize the things they're focused and concentrated on aren't what feeds the 9-centered being. If all of humanity woke up on this day when 9 steps into the sun, we would have a pathway suddenly to recognizing what's worth focusing and concentrating on. Because at the end of that week, we would be at this identification. It's a really lovely story now that I think about it. We could write a book about this, from planning to identification, in between the phoenix and consciousness.
Finally, we have our hexagrams for the week. First up, we have the sun in gate 9, which is detail. And in my I Ching book, it reads as small taming, the taming of the small. And the trigrams are wind over heaven. The image reads, wind moves above heaven, small taming. A noble one cultivates the natural pattern of character. The wind moves above heaven. It doesn't yet bring rain to earth. It is directed by the inner creative force of heaven, naturally moving with it. Inwardly, there are unchanging principles. Outwardly, your actions gradually take the shape of those inner principles. This is self-cultivation that aligns you with a creative power. It concentrates on growing potential rather than bringing about results.
That I can totally identify with, the potential rather than bring out the results, although it is hungry for those results. Of that I do know. But most of the time is spent in dreaming about the potential. The dreaming part helps tame. That's why 16 has to be a little bit delusional and gullible and sometimes cynical, all of these things, because it needs that and part of its talent base in order to create in the 9 that whole attention to the detail. I mean, it sort of described it again right at the end. I don't fully get how the wind in heaven really works with all of that, but I understood the language.
Yeah, so wind is subtle, far-reaching influence, right? It's that changing, it's bringing in something new. And then heaven is that spark of the divine, it's that spark of creativity. So I'd imagine, so the foundation is heaven, is the spark of creativity, and then the wind is that which is subtly moving it. So a spark of creativity.
Slowly, yes, it was how it mentioned it to be slow. It is a slow process. This is a slow burn. Think of everyone out there who's went to read a book and you got a little bummed when you saw that it was 300 pages. It made page 1 look so long, right? This is everything. Every time this gate 9 gets into something, that's where it begins. It might, if it's an MG like me, it might begin somewhere here, but it's going to go right back. It's going to get every last thing. It's like, it doesn't matter where it starts. It's going to get them all. Mostly. I mean, that's its mission. So I thought it was pretty good.
And then we have the earth in gate 16, which is enthusiasm, and the trigrams are thunder over earth. The image reads, thunder bursts forth from the earth, enthusiasm. The ancient kings composed music to honor virtue. They celebrated and worshipped the Supreme Lord, joining with their ancestors. Thunder bursts forth from the quiet earth in spring, waking the plants, stirring everything into growth. The ancient kings channeled the joy of spring into music, singing with the thunder. The people participate in ever-rising energies. Their spontaneous emotion becomes part of a rich and subtle fabric of relationships, the harmony of music, veneration of the supreme divinity, and the family of the ancestors. That's all
Is
I've got
totally
there.
speaking to the bursting forth of a new talent that once recognized feels like something worth sharing, and therein lies the enthusiasm. All of that language sort of read that way. The language there gives it a sense of tempering its own self a little bit, And gate 16 is not necessarily known for tempering its own self. It's so almost not its job in a way, a little bit, because the rest of the body graph is there. I had all these details. I had this taming I'd done of the knowledge I know, and I'm talking, I'm explaining. But it was the enthusiasm that was drawing it into the world. It was made manifest through gate 16, nowhere else. Its job isn't really to temper itself, although I can't say it's exclusively to not temper itself. It's just that that's not what it's best known for. This is Luigi's pies. It makes a good pie, okay? It's not the best stew. I don't even know that there's anything wise in any of this. As soon as they mention wise man and noble one and all that stuff, I don't even know if any of them, there's no wise or noble man in this gate. I can't say that that's fully true, but I'm just getting that sense as I'm hearing myself. This isn't the wise and noble gate, and there ain't no wise and noble ones. And there is a little bit of a court jester in here, just cause.
There's a celebration. There's a
Yep.
spark.
The
What
spark and the celebration made sense. Yes. Gate 16 isn't here to temper itself, isn't here to really do anything other than turn on or turn off to the talent it sees that it can identify with. And it doesn't have to be a complete talent. It can be right on the surface at first. But if you're enthusiastic, run with it. In fact, that advice is going to repeat in a moment when we say, what should we do with this energy?
the first line of it? Thunder bursts forth from the quiet earth in spring, waking the plants, stirring everything into growth. Thunder is the trigram when it's the spring, like in 6 months. So thunder is what sparks everything into life. So it's that
Mm.
enthusiasm, it's that spark, it's that joy, it's that excitement in
And
the
it
expression of
shows it in
excitement.
spades. It shows it in spades.
Tying it all together for our audience, what can they expect with the sun in gate 9 and the earth in gate 16? How can they see this and play
Get
with it this week?
obsessed. Plan on getting obsessed with something. Something's going to capture your thing. Don't plan on holding on to this energy. It'll go, right? In 6.5 days, it'll be gone. But in the meantime, allow whatever it is that shows up as a new focus that comes in. It's coming in on delusion. It's grounded. It's grounded on delusion. Delusion is a creative state. Don't put it in some kind of seven-centered way where it's some kind of bad thing. The delusion is a temporary, excitable state, nothing more. It's not illogical. It's identifying with something that might turn out to be incredibly logical. Here's a spot to like take a little leap of faith on a thing that you know you can do but haven't so far, because 9 has been there all along, keeps coming back every year. It's in the moon every month. It's in the transits. It's in someone you know. With all of that gate 9 around, maybe even in you, you'll recognize the energy to focus and concentrate. Once that happens and you've already seen it, allow yourself to be whatever is focused and concentrated on in the now is becomes enthusiastic in your life. Allow that. This is an opposition that brings a movement. And this movement is towards more planning and things that work better. So and they can be minute. You know what? If it's something minute and it's irrelevant and it doesn't make you any money, do it anyways. If that's where your heart is, because your sacral's talking. So, dude, we need to get the business rolling. I don't need you to organize the broom closet. It's like, dude, I started at the broom closet. It's not my fault. Couldn't help it. Probably don't start the broom closet if your business is in trouble, but mostly get what I'm saying. There will be minute things that just let it, it's not a waste of time, is my point. You can't waste your time. It can't be too small in this particular frame of time for you to possibly get enthused about and to focus on. Just recognize that. Oh, there is nothing that's even too small. It's only going to last 6 days. You don't have to worry about getting lost in the exact best method to take all of the hair off the hairbrush. But if you spend 10 minutes unknotting your thing like I do, when my hair ties get a little too much hair in them and I have to cut it off, I get really enthusiastic about that as it's happening. And you will too. So you'll see. It's interesting.
That's a word for it.
I mean, it's the taming power of the small. It's literally small as well
I
as just esoterically.
it makes sense. You're just examples. You make me laugh. So, in the way that I like to go through it, I like to start with the earth. So, the earth in gate 16, this enthusiasm. So, the earth is what grounds us, right? So, in terms of like gate 16, it's like, what can you be grounded in that gets you really excited? That gets you really excited to share it and do it over and over and over and over again, right? Because gate 16 links up with gate 48, which is depth and doing something repeatedly. Exploring what grounds us that we're really, really excited about and super enthusiastic to explore and share. So then we can shine the sun of gate 9 and the detail and the focus. So it's like grounding and what gets you excited. So then you can shine the detail it takes to like learn that and do it and explore it and dot every T and cross every I and all the little details and all the minutia. So this is like a fun energy. Like what
Yeah.
gets you excited to like want to
Arts and crafts,
needle
baby.
into
Arts and
stuff?
crafts. Yep.
Arts and crafts. This is
Totally.
the crafty time. This is the time to totally play with something like that.
Yeah.
Learn
Yeah.
something new, explore a hobby that maybe you haven't looked at in a little bit.
Just naturally, because we are tribal beings, it leads to planning. So the thing is, what starts small here, like all small things, like a seed. These are seeds. This is little Johnny Appleseed down here, literally, because he was excited too. It's just planting his red, apple trees everywhere. This is that. So the seeds you plant now can grow into amazing things. This is planning. Planning brought us civilization, extreme civilization. It wasn't the only thing. We had civilization before the cross planning was in the greater global cycles of the equinox, but I'm just saying extreme, industrialized civilization. So,
Yeah, it's been the grounding frequency for like 400 years. It's what's been kind of anchoring us into a certain way of being, and that's like we're shifting DJs. Like one
mhm,
DJ is finishing up, the other DJ is getting started, and we're like in the mix in the middle when they're transferring, and we'll see how clean they can make it.
indeed. Yeah, this is going to work out just fine. Crafts, arts and crafts, do something. You'll see. The small thing that you just bit off becomes something that you don't need to worry about. You got sacral energy for it, shows up. So allow yourself to let yourself focus on it and do a little bit of dreaming what 16 can do so easily. And it feels like an energy that propels you. So let the feeling propel you. Find the thing, let it be.
So have fun with it. This is a fun one. If you'd like to book a reading with either Danny or myself, check out the QR code above me or the link down is down in the description box below. Use code AWAKEN for a 10% off so you can save a little bit and we can hang out and talk about your chart. Also, if you've been getting a lot out of our channel and you want to help support us and encourage us, that QR code is to our donation link that's also down in the description box below. We thank you very much. Thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting, hanging out with us as we explore this and have so much fun. And we will catch you next week for another transit.
Absolutely. Much love, everyone. Thank you.